Hey VC, Crazy Jimmy here coming at you with another video. This one's going to be a recommended if you like video. And today's subject is going to be none other than Big Star, one of my favorite bands from the early 70s. And this happens to be an original press. Love the old school Barker's price tag on there. Barker's. And I remember my grandmother used to shop at Barker's. Pretty funny, but yeah, the fact that they had this thing at their store is crazy. Good old Arden Records, but we'll show you a couple different Big Stars that I have. Got quite a few things from Big Star, but we'll just show you like the main ones. Here's Third on PVC. And last but not least, we've got probably my favorite from them is Radio City. Cool little price tag there. $1.98. Must have been nice. TGIF little picture from Fridays there. Taken by Egglestone, the famous photographer. But anyways, I know a lot of you probably have heard of Big Star. A lot of you probably like Big Star. Some of you might not like Big Star, but really good Anglo-style power pop, fronted by Alex Chilton and Chris Bell to start with. They kind of joined forces and really released a juggernaut of an album that should have been a massive hit. And Chris Bell's fingerprints are all over this first album called Number One Record. And then he kind of left. He has a couple songs on this one, but I think Back of a Car was his track that he worked on, and Oh My Soul was the other one. But really, really cool Big Star second album there, and then the third is really more of a Chilton solo album. But really good stuff overall. If you like power pop that has hooks and bite with ballads and rock kind of mixed in and really good hooks, you absolutely will love Big Star. One of my favorite all-time bands, right up there with Guided by Voices, of course. Badfinger, The Beatles, bands like that. So I kind of wanted to go over some more obscure artists that you might not have heard of that were either influenced by Big Star or sound like Big Star, that might not have been influenced by him but sound like him. So there's quite a few in my collection. I probably have about 40 or 50, but for the sake of time, I pulled some here that I thought you might not have heard of. The first one I'm going to go with is Van Duren, and this is his first album called Are You Serious? And I don't know if anyone saw the recent documentary on Van Duren, but really, really amazing documentary. You should check it out. Awesome. Kind of looks like Todd Rundgren a little bit there. Kind of looks like Todd Rundgren, but and actually some of the music sounds like vintage Todd Rundgren, power pop Todd Rundgren. But Big Star's all over this, man. This guy actually auditioned to play with Alex Chilton and Big Star and join the band back in 1974. And according to Van Duren, he had a horrible audition. It just didn't work out for him. It wasn't for whatever reason, the timing, for whatever reason, it didn't work out. But he had a whole host of songs, and he had this song here, The Love That I Love, the last song in this album that he wrote with Jody Stevens. That is so, it's like the type of song, it's a wedding song. That's how beautiful it is. It's an absolutely beautiful acoustic ballad that they both sing on. And his vocals, though, are so pristine. Just a beautiful song. I think it rivals 13, and I know 13 is like a top 500 all-time song, but, check out The Love That I Love by Van Duren. Jody Stevens is on that song with them. They kind of wrote it together. But this whole album is freaking smoking. Really, if you're a Big Star fan, you're going to listen to this and you go, yep, I'm getting it. Todd Rundgren, vintage Todd Rundgren from like Something Anything era. and Big Star and Todd Rundgren, and you've got it. This is all over it. So really, really highly recommend that if you love Big Star. Next is a band you probably have not heard of. This band here called Blue. And this is not a boy band. They're actually a Scottish, they're Scottish lads, Scottish band, similar to like, same area from that Teenage Fan Club came from, which we're going to get to. But this is an early 70s band, and this band features members from, I want to say Marmalade. This is Nicholson here in the middle, one of the singers. They all sing, but he's from Marmalade, and Marmalade had some really infectious power pop tunes on their albums. And then he kind of left Marmalade and joined Blue. And man, oh man, this is just so good. It's right up there. I think it rivals Big Star as far as like hooks and power pop hooks. Not as many ballads on this album, but just really, really good rocking tunes. And then their second album, I think it's Life of the Navy, is more, this is more power pop mixed with like Americana. So really still great. Kind of like the best way I can describe it would be like you throw the Eagles and Big Star in the blender and boom, you've got Blue's second album, which is just as good as their first. I actually like their first 4 albums, so check them out. They started in around 1972. And these are all like early to mid 70s albums. But by the way, the Van Duren album here, Are You Serious? This was, I want to say 1970. It was recorded in 76 and released in 78. All right, moving on. Again, someone who's played with Big Star members, Tommy Hoehn, who's also from Memphis. And this is called Spacebreak. This is his first full-length. And this is the original here. What I'm showing you are all originals. But Spacebreak, again, this is another guy that played, he sang and played with Chris Bell in the band Prix, P-R-I-X, which I will not show you today. But in that band was also Alex Chilton and a few others. Tiven was also in that band. And, of course, Tommy Hoehn. But Spacebreak is this album here. This is just a fantastic album. Again, power pop, extreme power pop to the max. Tons of hooks. And again, this was, I want to say 1975, maybe 76. But again, a really good 70s album. So check that one out if you love Big Star. Next on the list, this shouldn't surprise anyone, but of course the Raspberries. Now, I know you all know the Raspberries, but you know, a lot of people, when they hear the Raspberries, they think of power pop, they think of Badfinger, they think of Kiss, because the Raspberries influenced Kiss in a big, big way. I mean, Paul Stanley worshipped the Raspberries, and you can tell in a lot of their music. But on top of that, I hear a ton of Big Star in the Raspberries music. So that Anglo power pop that the Raspberries were certainly churning out on their 4 albums, their 4 main albums they released back in the early 70s. So check that one out along with the rest of theirs. Now I'm going to get into some, let me show you 2 more 70s and then we'll get into more modern. Next is a band Cargoe, and I'm sure some of you have not heard of Cargoe, but this is an Ardent recording band. So they recorded at Ardent as well. They're from Memphis. And again, this album here is very similar to Big Star's first. You know, that Anglo power pop, a couple ballads on here as well. Really good, sweet vocals. Some hard rockin' tunes as well. So this has also got a nice lamination on the cover, just kind of like what Big Star did with their #1 record. But really good stuff. I think this one here was from 72. So 72 is kind of the sweet spot. And then I showed their second album as a tax scam album, but this was their first and main album, not their tax scam album, Hot Dog, which I showed in a previous video. But this is the one they actually released. They recorded this at Ardent. This is the Hot Dog Say What You Mean, a Memphis band recording at Ardent. Again, this and Cargoe, I mean, very similar to Big Star in every way. You'll put these on and spin them and go, oh, that's pretty close. So and I don't think they were copying. It's just the way, these bands kind of all hung around with each other, so they knew each other and they kind of were influenced with what each other was doing. So, but check this out as well. And these albums can be had for decent prices. Like this Hot Dog album here can be had for, $15 to $25 depending on condition. The Cargo's a little rarer, but you can pick this one up in a decent condition for $40. So check those out as well. Now let's get to some modern ones. None other than, huge influence with Davis, Superdrag. And this is probably the Superdrag album, Head Trip in every key, that is related to Big Star the most. I mean, every track on here could have been on Radio City or Number One Record. I mean, every track. So you'll listen to this and go, holy smokes, man, is this Big Star or is this Superdrag? So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just really, really good 90s power pop. So check out Superdrag. They have quite a few releases, and every single one of them is recommended if you like Big Star. And moving on, we've got, I think, two more. Of course, the Posies. I've got to show the Posies. This is frosting on the beater. And again, I'm showing you just all originals here. I like to show the originals. This is on Geffen Records. You can see the nice $4.99 price tag that I paid for it. So love it when you can get one of these for $4.99 back in the 90s, But this is probably my favorite Posies album. But all of these Posies albums, especially from this one and Success, which came after this, they sound very Big Star-esque. And as you know, Stringfellow and Orr played with Chilton and reformed Big Star's reunion band. So the Posies were part of that. So, of course, they worship Big Star. They sound like Big Star. A little more edge to them, though, I think, than Big Star, but really good. And then, last but not least, the band that probably was influenced the most by Big Star, Teenage Fanclub. And this is the album that will remind you the most of classic Big Star, like that September Girls sound. Every track on this is a hit. Every track on this sounds like September Girls, if you ask me. I mean, the chord changes are just spot on. And it's not a copycat to the point where you can't listen to it. It's fantastic. I mean, even the vocals, all four band members sing, and they sing well, and the harmonies are just really creamy. I love creamy harmonies. And you can't go wrong with any Teenage Fanclub album, but this is the one that sounds the most like Big Star, called Grand Prix. And this was released in 95, I want to say. So the Superdrag was also, this Superdrag was 96, and the Posies were frosting on the beater, I believe, was 93. So there you have it. The first submission in the recommended if you like segment, and we did Big Star today. Please check out these bands and support these bands, and if you like what you hear, pop online, eBay, Discogs, wherever you may purchase, your local record store, and pick them up. Some of these can be found. Obviously, the originals are harder to find. You probably have to get them online, but some of these have been repressed. I know the Teenage Fanclub can be found as a repress in your local store. All the Big Star albums have been repressed. You might have a harder time with Tommy Hoehn and Blue, Cargoe and the Hot Dogs, but again, those Blue is not very expensive online right now, which blows my mind. You would think there'd be a lot of demand for that band and those albums, but they can be had for a decent price. And then the Tommy Hoehn's a little up there, but you can get the repress of this album with one extra track for far less. So if you want this original, it'll set you back about $80. But if you want to get the repress, it's about $20. And then this has been repressed. This is an original. I recommend you get the original on this. I mean, it's just so good, and you can get an original for like between 60 and 100. So check that out as well. But hey, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think of these bands. And if you haven't heard them before and then you went online, you listened to them and you like them, let me know that as well. Or if you dislike them, let me know. But I'd be really interested in what you guys think of these bands and some of these albums that I showed here that are RIYL for Big Star. So thanks for watching. Crazy Jimmy out.